And AEW Talent says Velveteen Dream deserves a second chance. Plus, a WWE manager is teasing an in-ring return. And will CM Punk be at King and Queen of the Ring? It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling news right now. On Busted Open Radio, Mark Henry fantasy booked a modern version of the Nation of Domination, and he included some stars from across different companies that he wanted to be a part of it. One particular name that he chose, and his reasoning for doing so, raised a few eyebrows.
He said his number one draft pick would be Powerhouse Hobbs, number two, Omos, then he would go Carmelo Hayes, Bobby Lashley. He said he wanted people he just don't like. And then he continued saying, my wild card would probably be Velveteen Dream, Patrick Clark. I think it's time for his second chance. A lot of people in the world of wrestling love the talent, referring to Dream. We're in a cancel culture that is justified as so. We need a cancel culture, but at some point, you got to have grace and forgiveness, and you got to see if that person is going to bury themselves again, because habitual line steppers, that's exactly who they are. Once they get that second chance and they're out, I ain't co-signing for you no more. But everybody needs their second chance. I think that would be my new nation.
Mark Henry goes on to say, a lot of people didn't want to touch that. And you know, I don't get into the guilt or the innocence, even though from what I'm understanding, there was a lot of confusion and judgment about male sexuality, which I'm not a politician and I'm not going to cast judgment one way or the other, but I do realize I've been lied on before. So I know what it feels like to not be able to defend yourself in the court of public opinion. And at some point, you've got to say, you know what, whatever happened, happened, but I need to make a living and I need another chance, and I'm begging the fans for a chance. That's what I want to do. I would throw myself on the mercy of the fans and say, give me another shot.
I'm confused by something that Mark Henry has said there, and perhaps I'm not fully understanding his point, but he said there's a lot of confusion and judgment about male sexuality. That wasn't the point here. The point was that Velveteen Dream was accused of messaging minors on social media, something that he admitted to doing, but said that he was mentoring them, in his own words. But various other allegations came out regarding that as well. I don't think that was a question of male sexuality. I think that was an issue of talking to children online and behaving terribly inappropriately.
That was the main thing. And as you say, he spoke about it in interviews with people such as Chris Van Vliet, where he's addressed those things, and that was something that he said was going on. But the sexuality line is, as you say, one that I don't think was ever the concern.
No, I don't think people were having a go at him because he's gay. It was everything else, wasn't it? But maybe, maybe Mark Henry misspoke there, or we've misunderstood something. I don't think any major company would touch him. Obviously, he made his return to the independent scene relatively recently. Things have gone a little bit quiet since then. I think when WWE let him go, that was sort of writing on the wall as far as his future in major, at least US-based, professional wrestling. WWE did that investigation, and then they brought him back, and then they let him go following it. And I guess a big part of that, because the guy was so tremendously talented in the ring, the big part of that is the PR nightmare that was causing, for obvious reasons. Is it worth it for WWE to bring him back? Probably not. AEW? Probably not. I think it's not a good way to get goodwill from the fans, is it?
And very telling when you consider that Velveteen Dream was one of those guys that WWE were really starting to get behind. It was certainly a plan for him to progress through from NXT and further on. That was certainly the impression that was given. But the fact that those investigations took place and then they put the halt on all of those and he was gone, as you say, it does say a lot.
It was weird. I really did think that he was going to be a world champion, main roster world champion. I really did think he was so tremendously talented in the ring, great gimmick and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't think he's going to get a second chance from a major place anyway.
At AEW Revolution, we saw the sons of Sting stepping into the ring for the first time, dressed as different incarnations of their father. We saw Garrett Borden dressed as Surfer Sting, and we saw Wolfpack Sting played by Steve Borden Jr. And this has lit a bit of a fire under Steve Borden Jr. And according to Darby Allin, who spoke to Fightful, he's getting ready to get in the ring properly.
He is. He's got the bug. He's been bitten, and he fancies a go of it proper. Darby saying that, he wasn't considering becoming a wrestler before. Now he fancies doing it. Darby also added, bizarrely, that Steve Borden Jr. has been staying outside his house in a tent.
How has that floated under the radar, that part of the story? That Steve Borden Jr. has been bitten by more than the wrestling bug because he's in a tent outside Darby Allin's house.
Maybe you've not got a spare bedroom, but let him have the sofa.
Let him have the sofa.
A blow-up mattress on the floor or something like that. You know what? The guy's obviously in tremendous shape. He looks the part. He looks like a wrestler. The stuff that we saw him do was really impressive.
Yeah.
I think he'll do all right, you know?
Maybe it's part of the training, like the Borden family training, because as we know, Sting lived in rafters of arenas for a year. So maybe this is part of that process. He's going to live in tents for a year and then burst out and lose a match to Hogan, then win again.
Good luck to him.
Good
Seriously.
luck to him. Good luck to him, and good luck to MVP, who shared a really exciting live update.
Yeah, giving an update on Instagram, saying the caption says, "I'm getting ready for my stem cell therapy trip to Mexico." So obviously, good luck with that. Getting my body ready. I want to wrestle a bit more before I hang him up for good. He is a guy who is a little bit beat up. He's been doing it for an awful long time. I think the absolute world of MVP.
Yeah.
I think he's a hell of a talker. But I was watching some of his stuff with Matt Hardy back quite recently, and the guy was really, really smooth in the ring. He's another guy that I thought, hey, that's a potential world champion in WWE. He went off and he did great things elsewhere, notably TNA. Did great stuff there, and I like seeing him on our screens. I don't think he's wrestled since 2022. It's been an awful long time, but one last hurrah, yeah, why not?
Most definitely earned a one last hurrah as
sure.
well. Would love to see him back in the ring after some time away. A WWE show is taking some time away. WrestleVote's reporting that The Bump is going on hiatus for 5 weeks. They're moving to a new studio from July the 3rd. A lot of people might go, didn't even notice it was gone, to be perfectly honest. Because here's the weird thing about The Bump. It is so rarely referenced, it feels like. It's a little bit better now, but for a long time, it just wasn't talked about on mainstream WWE telly.
I watch like the odd bit here and there when something big happens, when they have a big guest on who says something like important, I'll watch it, but I don't watch the whole show. But I'm always surprised by the viewing figures on it. They are so unbelievably low, at least on their digital platforms that I've seen. So yeah, yesterday's they had special guest Natalia on there. That was an exciting one. Great interview. She said that she wants to main event WrestleMania next year, or at some point with Roxanne Perez. Best of luck with that, Natty. I'll miss it for the 5 weeks it's gone.
when they did the thing with The Fiend on Twitch last week, and you could see like the Twitch, the Wyatt, not The Fiend, the Uncle Howdy Wyatt 6 video that went live on there. Look at the numbers of that, and then look at the numbers of the episode of The Bump that were on before it, and whoa. That is a cliff that if you fell off, you'd break your legs.
It depends who they've got on, doesn't it? If
Yeah.
you've got somebody who's doing great stuff, like Drew McIntyre, his stuff did really well on there.
Yeah.
CM Punk, if you have him on, he's going to do decent numbers. It's who's on the show, isn't it?
It's who is on the show. Is CM Punk going to be on King and Queen of the Ring, though, Adam?
No.
Okay, there we
CM
go.
Punk.
Stay safe, love you, bye.
He's given the trip to Saudi a miss. They've all flown out, obviously, to Jeddah for this weekend's pay-per-view and the SmackDown as well. CM Punk, however, is in Philly ahead of Cage Fighting Fury's event this weekend. He's going to be doing commentary there. I'm not sure we'll ever see him at Saudi pay-per-view. You think back to that tweet that he did to The Miz, go sucker, blood, money, covered, you know what?
Aubergine emoji.
Yeah, and he's going to look like a right tit if he goes back on that. I'm not saying he won't, but I think... You know what? He's got his own beliefs about this sort of stuff. Obviously, he's a very sort of strong-willed person, and I think that's one of those things that he will very much stick to. We've seen it in the past with Daniel Bryan. We've seen it with John Cena. People not wanting to go out there. I think CM Punk's one of those people. I don't think a Saudi crowd are going to see Punk.
And plus, as he's on the bench currently, Andrew McIntyre is out with injury for the time being, and he's not part of the card for King and Queen of the Ring. Then there's no need for him to go out there.
Yeah, what would he even do? I guess he's been doing the pre-show stuff, hasn't he? He's been doing the
I mean,
panels.
there is that, but a lot of that they do. They've done a few of those from their home base, haven't they?
Yeah.
Rather than taking them to there. But I think they've done a few of the kickoff shows from outside the arenas in Saudi Arabia before, so maybe they'll do it this time. But either way, he's not factored into it this time round. What have we got to plug? Well, predictions later on today for AEW Double or Nothing. It's a busy weekend for the wrestling. You and I are streaming on different days.
Yes.
We are islands in the streams, if you will.
So we we've got, you got predictions coming up for AEW. Oh, listen to this tune, that's good.
Thanks.
We've got predictions coming up tonight there. We got tomorrow, you got the podcast with special guest Sam Driver.
Way! Come on!
On the Saturday, you've got myself and Andrew doing the WWE reactions. You got Tom on the What Happened At, followed by WTF the next day. And then on Sunday, you have got Ross and Tom on the AEW reactions. And unfortunately, me doing the What Happened At. So sorry for that. I'm rubbish at them, but please do watch.
We love you to watch them. And for the latest wrestling news throughout the day, you can check out cultaholic.com. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.